if you really want to hear about it. The first thing you'll probably want to know is why we are still talking about this book 70 years later. You'll want to know why a novel about a whiny, privileged teenager wandering around New York City for 3 days became the defining manifesto of teenage rebellion. You'll want to know why it's been banned, censored, and blamed for assassinations. But before we get into all that David Copperfield kind of crap, let's look at the reality. The Catcher in the Rye by J.D. Salinger is a paradox. It is simultaneously one of the most beloved and most hated books in American literature. For some, Holden Caulfield is a savior, a voice that articulates the confusing, lonely, and desperate transition from childhood to adulthood. For others, he is simply an insufferable brat, a rich kid with no real problems who complains about everything and everyone. But if you read Salinger's masterpiece and only see a complaining teenager, you aren't looking closely enough. You are missing the tragedy hiding in plain sight. This isn't just a story about teenage angst. It is a ghost story. It is a war story disguised as a school story. It is a brutal, unfiltered look at grief, trauma, and the terrifying realization that the world of adults is built on a foundation of performance, or, as Holden would call it, phoniness. In this deep dive, we aren't just summarizing the plot. We are going to deconstruct Holden Caulfield. We are going to walk the streets of 1950s New York with him, peel back the layers of his sarcasm, and try to understand what exactly he is trying to catch in that field of rye. Welcome to the Anatomy of a Meltdown. Chapter 1. The Context of the Scream. To understand Holden, you have to understand the silence he was shouting into. The year is roughly 1949 or 1950. World War II is over. America is entering a golden age of economic boom. Suburbs are sprouting up like mushrooms. Television is teaching families how to smile, what to buy, and how to behave. It was an era of aggressive conformity. The cultural narrative was clear. Be happy, be successful, fit in. Enter J.D. Salinger. Before writing The Catcher in the Rye, Salinger was a soldier. He landed on Utah Beach on D-Day. He fought in the Battle of the Bulge. He was one of the first soldiers to enter a liberated concentration camp. He saw the absolute worst of humanity, the smell of burning flesh, the piles of bodies, the industrialized death. When Salinger came back to America, he didn't write a war novel, not directly. He wrote about a 16-year-old boy getting kicked out of prep school. But make no mistake, the trauma of the war bleeds through every page of this book. Holden's alienation isn't just teenage hormones. It is the alienation of a soul that sees through the shiny veneer of society and sees the rotting wood underneath. Holden is a character suffering from what we would now call PTSD, living in a society that didn't yet have the vocabulary to diagnose it. The book begins in a mental institution, or at least a rest home near Hollywood. The entire novel is a flashback. Holden is telling us his story from the ruins. This framing device is crucial. We are not watching a boy live his life. We are listening to a patient explain his breakdown. Chapter 2. 𝗥𝗲𝗱𝗴𝗴 and the ostrich effect. Our journey begins at 𝗥𝗲𝗱𝗴𝗴. It's a Saturday afternoon, the day of the big football game. Everyone is there, cheering, participating in the school spirit. Everyone except Holden. He is standing alone on Thompson Hill, looking down at the game, practically trying to feel a goodbye. Why is he leaving? Because he's failing. He's flunking 4 out of 5 subjects. But it's not because he's stupid. Holden is incredibly literate. He reads constantly. He's failing because he refuses to participate in the game. 𝗥𝗲𝗱𝗴𝗴 represents the incubator of the phony. It is a factory designed to turn boys into wealthy, successful, superficial men. Holden hates it. He hates the headmaster, Dr. Thurmer. He hates the wealthy alumni who come back to visit. He hates the social hierarchy. But let's look at his neighbors. We have Robert 𝗥𝗲𝗱𝗴𝗴, the unhygienic, socially awkward senior who lives in the next room. 𝗥𝗲𝗱𝗴 is an outcast, just like Holden. But unlike Holden, who isolates himself by choice, 𝗥𝗲𝗴𝗴 is isolated by his repulsiveness. Interestingly, Holden tolerates 𝗥𝗲𝗴𝗴. He even invites him to the movies. Why? Because 𝗥𝗲𝗴 isn't a phony. He's gross, sure, but he's authentic in his grossness. Then there is the foil, Ward Stradlater. Stradlater is Holden's roommate, and he is the embodiment of everything Holden is not. He is handsome, sexually experienced, and plays the game perfectly. Holden calls him a secret slob, someone who looks put together on the outside, but uses a dirty razor. This is a microcosm of Holden's worldview. Beautiful surfaces hiding dirty realities. The tension at 𝗥𝗲𝗱𝗴𝗴 explodes over a girl, Jane Gallagher. When Holden finds out Stradlater is going on a date with Jane, a girl Holden grew up with and cares for deeply, he spirals. Jane represents innocence to Holden. She is a memory of a time before sexuality, before adulthood, before corruption. She is the girl who kept all her kings in the back row when playing checkers. She played for safety, not to win. The idea of Stradlater, the sexy bastard, being with Jane drives Holden mad. He isn't just jealous, he is terrified. He is terrified that Stradlater will corrupt Jane's innocence. When Stradlater returns from the date and refuses to give details, Holden attacks him. It's a futile fight. Holden is weaker, smaller, and already mentally exhausted. He gets beaten up, bloodied, and humiliated. This is the catalyst. This is the moment the dam breaks. Lying on the floor in a bloody nose, Holden decides he can't stay at 𝗥𝗲𝗱𝗴𝗴 for another second. He packs his bags. And here we get the first iconic moment of rebellion. He puts on his red hunting hat. Chapter 3. The Red Hunting Hat and the Departure. Let's pause on the red hunting hat. It is one of the most famous symbols in American literature. He bought it in New York for $1. It has ear flaps. It's ugly. It's out of place. Holden wears it backwards, like a baseball catcher. Keep that in mind. A catcher. When he wears the hat, he is signaling his separation from society. He puts it on when he is writing, when he is alone, or when he needs courage. But he takes it off when he enters public spaces, like bars or hotel lobbies.
He is conflicted. He wants to be an individual, but he is also terrified of being stared at. The hat is his security blanket. It is his armor against a world he finds hostile. So, wearing his blood-stained face and his red hunting hat, he screams into the hallway, "Sleep tight, you morons!" and leaves 𝗵𝗱𝗴𝗴 forever. He gets on a train to New York City. This train ride is pivotal. He meets the mother of a classmate, Ernest Morrow. Now, Holden knows Ernest Morrow is, in his words, the biggest bastard that ever went to 𝗵𝗱𝗴𝗴. But what does Holden do? He lies. He spins a fantasy for this mother. He tells her that her son is popular, shy, and modest. Why? This is our first clue that Holden is an unreliable narrator, but also a deeply empathetic one. He hates phonies, yet he is the biggest liar in the book. But look at why he lies. He lies to make the mother feel good. He lies to protect her from the truth that her son is a bully. Holden's phoniness is protective. Society's phoniness is performative. He sees a difference even if he hates himself for doing it.
Chapter 4. The Hotel of Broken People. Holden arrives in New York. It's late. He can't go home because his parents don't know he's been expelled yet. He checks in to the Edmont Hotel. The Edmont is a liminal space, a threshold between worlds. From his window, Holden watches the other guests in their rooms. He sees a man cross-dressing. He sees a couple squirting water at each other. He calls them perverts, but he can't look away. He is fascinated and repulsed by the adult world of sexuality. To Holden, sex is messy, confusing, and degrades the human connection. He admits he doesn't understand it. He talks about sex rules and how hard it is to just be natural. This is where the loneliness truly sets in. Holden is in the biggest city in the world, yet he has no one to call. He runs through a mental Rolodex of people. His brother D.B., his little sister Phoebe, Jane Gallagher, Sally Hayes. But he calls none of them. He is paralyzed by the fear of interaction, yet desperate for connection. He ends up going to the hotel's Lavender Room nightclub. He dances with 3 tourists from Seattle. He buys them drinks. He tries to sound sophisticated. They ignore him, drink his liquor, and leave. It's a pathetic scene, but it highlights Holden's tragedy. He is trying to play the role of an adult, ordering drinks, smoking, flirting, but the world just sees a child playing dress-up. And then the thoughts of his brother Allie begin to creep in. Chapter 5. The Baseball Glove and the Ghost. Visual cue. A dark room, rain on the window. A spotlight hits a worn-out left-handed baseball fielder's mitt covered in green handwriting. To understand why Holden is falling, we have to talk about the person who isn't there. We have to talk about Allie. Back in the hotel room, after the disaster in the Lavender Room, Holden feels depressed. He takes out his most prized possession, a baseball mitt. But it's not just a glove. It belonged to his younger brother, Allie, who died of leukemia 3 years ago. Allie had written poems all over the fingers and the pocket of the glove in green ink, so he would have something to read when he was in the field and nobody was at bat. This object is the emotional anchor of the entire novel. Allie represents absolute,
uncorrupted goodness. In Holden's binary worldview, where adults are phonies and children are authentic, Ali is the saint. He was intelligent, he was kind, and he never got angry. And he died. The night Ali died, Holden was 13. He went into the garage and smashed all the windows with his bare fist. He tried to break the station wagon windows too, but his hand was already broken. He tells us, "I can't make a real fist anymore." This is crucial. Holden is physically scarred by his grief. His inability to make a fist is symbolic. He is defenseless. He cannot fight back against the world. His hand hurts when it rains. The trauma isn't just in his head, it's in his body. Salinger is showing us that Holden's cynicism isn't arrogance. It's a defense mechanism. If you love something as much as he loved Ali, and the universe takes it away for no reason, you stop trusting the universe. You stop investing in things. You call everything phony, because if it's fake, it can't hurt you when it breaks. Chapter 6. Where do the ducks go? This brings us to the most famous question in the book, the question that has puzzled English students for decades. Where do the ducks go in the winter? Holden asks this question to two different taxi drivers. He is obsessed with the ducks in the Central Park Lagoon. The lagoon is freezing over. The environment is becoming hostile. He wants to know, does a truck come and take them away? Do they fly south? Do they die? People often mock this as random, weird behavior. But it is not random. It is a cry for help. Holden is the duck. He is currently living in a world that is freezing over. He has no school, no home he can return to, no direction. He is asking the adult world, is there a system in place to take care of the vulnerable when things get hard? Will someone come and save me? The cab drivers, representing the adult world, give him no comfort. One ignores him. The other, Horowitz, gets angry and talks about the fish. He says the fish stay in the ice, frozen in place, absorbing nutrients through their pores. Mother Nature takes care of them. This isn't the answer Holden wants. He doesn't want to be frozen in the ice. He wants to be rescued. He wants to know that there is a transition, a migration that is safe. But the adult world offers him no reassurance. Chapter 7. Sonny, Maurice, and the Failure of Intimacy. Back at the Edmont Hotel, the elevator operator, Maurice, offers to send a girl up to Holden's room. $5 a throw, 15 till noon. Holden agrees. Why? He's a virgin. He claims he's had opportunities, but he always stops. He wants to cross that threshold into adulthood. He thinks sex might be the answer. But when the girl Sonny arrives, the reality crushes the fantasy. She is young, roughly his age. She is wearing a green dress. Green often symbolizes corruption or sickness in Salinger's work, contrasting with the green ink on Ali's glove. Holden is immediately paralyzed. He can't perform. He realizes she is a human being, a kid just like him. He starts asking her about her life, her job. Sonny just wants to get it over with. She is a commodity. He is a customer. Holden pays her $5 not to have sex. He pays her to leave. He just wants the discomfort to end. But the horror isn't over. Maurice returns. He claims it was $10. They shake Holden down. When Holden tries to stand up for himself, crying, furious, shaking, Maurice punches him in the stomach. Holden collapses. And here we see the power of his dissociation. Lying on the floor, gasping for air, he doesn't call the police, he doesn't scream. Instead, he pretends he has a bullet in his gut. He imagines he is a character in a noir movie. He imagines walking downstairs and shooting Maurice. He retreats into fantasy because reality is too violent to handle. He is a child pretending to be a tough guy, but he is alone, robbed, and beaten in a hotel room. He admits, "I felt like committing suicide. I felt like jumping out the window." This is the rock bottom of his physical journey. But the emotional bottom is yet to come.
Chapter 8. The Museum of Natural History. The next day, Holden wanders the city. He walks towards the Museum of Natural History. He loves this place. He remembers going there as a child. Why does he love it? Because, as he says, the best thing, though, in that museum was that everything always stayed right where it was. The Eskimo is always fishing. The birds are always flying south, but never leaving. Nothing changes. You can go there 100,000 times, and the only thing that's different is you. This is the key to Holden's psychology. He suffers from a pathological fear of change. Change means death, alley. Change means corruption, Stradlater. Change means growing up and becoming a phony. In the museum, life is frozen in a perfect, innocent state. It is a glass case world. Holden wants to live in the glass case. He wants to stop the clock. He wants to be the catcher in the rye, saving children from falling off the cliff of childhood into the abyss of adulthood. But note the tragedy. He walks all the way to the museum, but he doesn't go in. He says, "I wouldn't have gone inside for $1,000,000. Why? Because he knows he has changed. If he goes in now, with booze on his breath and trauma in his heart, he will shatter the memory. He protects the museum by staying outside. Chapter 9. The Date with Sally Hayes. The Manic Episode. Visual cue. A theater marquee. Then an ice skating rink at Rockefeller Center. Fast, chaotic cuts to match Holden's racing thoughts. Desperate for company, Holden calls Sally Hayes. He doesn't even like her that much. He thinks she's stupid but good-looking. This is Holden playing the game he hates. They go to a matinee play. Holden hates the actors. He thinks they are too good, too polished. They are showing off. Again, he hates performance. Then they go ice skating. And here, Holden has a manic break. He is sitting with Sally in the bar, and he starts ranting. He pours out everything. How much he hates school, New York, the cars, the people. He is shouting. Sally keeps asking him to keep his voice down. Then he proposes an insane plan. He asks Sally to run away with him, right now, to drive to Massachusetts and Vermont, live in a cabin, and chop their own wood. It's a beautiful, impossible fantasy. It's the pioneer dream, a return to nature away from society. Sally, who is a pragmatic, normal teenager, says the obvious. You can't just do that. She says they are practically children. She says we'll have oodles of time to do those things after you go to college. This breaks Holden. The mention of the future, of the predetermined path, college, job, adulthood, enrages him.
He insults her. "You give me a royal pain in the ass." She cries. He laughs, then apologizes, then leaves. This scene is painful to watch because we see Holden trying to save himself. He thinks if he can just physically remove himself from society, go to a cabin in the woods, he will be okay. He is looking for a geographical cure for a psychological problem. But Sally bursts his bubble. She reminds him that he is part of the system whether he likes it or not. He is running out of options. He has tried sex, Sonny. He has tried romance, Sally. He has tried nostalgia. Nothing is working. The walls are closing in. Chapter 10. The Sanctuary. Sneaking home. Visual cue. Nighttime. Holden sneaking through his own apartment building. The ticking of a clock. Soft, warm light entering Phoebe's bedroom. Holden is running out of places to go. He has exhausted the bars, the hotels, and the parks. He decides to do the most dangerous thing possible. Go home. But he isn't going to see his parents. He is going to see Phoebe. When he enters her room, the atmosphere of the book changes completely. For 150 pages, we have been in the cold, dirty, noisy city. Suddenly, we are in a sanctuary. It smells like a child's room. It is safe. Phoebe is 10 years old. In Holden's mind, she is the smartest person in the world. But unlike Jane, who is a memory, or Allie, who is a ghost, Phoebe is alive. She is present. And because she is real, she doesn't just accept Holden's nonsense. She challenges him. When she finds out he's been kicked out of school again, she doesn't comfort him. She gets angry. She puts her head under the pillow. She acts like a real sister. And then she delivers the most devastating line in the book. She sits up and says, "You don't like anything that's happening." Holden tries to deny it. He lists things he likes. He says he likes Allie. Phoebe cuts him off. Allie's dead. She forces him to confront the present. She demands he name one thing, one living thing that he would like to be. Chapter 11. The Misheard Song. Cornered by his little sister, Holden finally articulates his dream. He references a song, "Coming Through the Rye" by Robert Burns. But he gets the lyrics wrong. The real lyric is, "If a body meet a body, coming through the rye." It's a song about casual sex, about meeting someone in the fields. Holden remembers it as, "If a body catch a body, coming through the rye." He tells Phoebe his fantasy. "I keep picturing all these little kids playing some game in this big field of rye and all. Thousands of little kids, and nobody's around, nobody big, I mean, except me. And I'm standing on the edge of some crazy cliff. What I have to do, I have to catch everybody if they start to go over the cliff. I mean, if they're running and they don't look where they're going, I have to come out from somewhere and catch them. That's all. I'd be just the catcher in the rye." This is the thesis of the novel. The cliff represents the fall from childhood innocence into the complex, corrupt, sexualized world of adulthood. The rye is the blinding blindness of childhood play. You don't see the danger coming. Holden wants to be the savior. He wants to be the barrier. He wants to stop the process. He wants to save Phoebe, and he wants to save himself. But the tragedy, of course, is that he got the song wrong. The song is about meeting, about encounter, about connection. Holden turns it into catching, about control and prevention. He is trying to stop a natural process. You cannot stop children from falling. You cannot stop gravity. Chapter 12, Mr. Antolini and the Final Betrayal. Holden leaves Phoebe, after giving her his red hunting hat, passing the torch of protection to her, and goes to the apartment of Mr. Antolini. Mr. Antolini is his former English.
Chapter 14. The Carousel and the Resolution. This is where Holden's story finds its fragile, heartbreaking piece. He meets Phoebe at the museum as planned. She arrives with a suitcase. She has packed her things and is ready to run away with him. This is the ultimate test of Holden's fantasy. Phoebe, the very person he wants to save, is willing to jump off the cliff with him. She is willing to sacrifice her own childhood innocence to follow her broken brother into the wilderness. And in this moment, Holden does something extraordinary. He says no. He looks at her, so small and determined with her suitcase, and he realizes he cannot let her. He cannot be the reason she falls. He gets angry. "You're not going one single place with me," he tells her. He feels like he's the pervert for even considering it. Phoebe is furious. She cries. She refuses to speak to him. The tension is unbearable. Holden has finally made a mature, selfless decision, and it has caused his beloved sister immense pain. It feels like a failure. But then he takes her to the carousel. He buys her a ticket. He watches as she picks a horse. Not the one that goes up and down, but a stationary, old, gold one on the outside ring. She makes a safe choice. The carousel starts. The music plays. It begins to rain. Holden sits on the wooden bench, soaked to the bone, and watches her go around and around. He is not on the carousel. He is outside of it, watching. He is no longer a child. And then he has his epiphany. It's not a loud, dramatic moment. It's quiet, internal. As he watches Phoebe reach for the gold ring in the center of the carousel, a dangerous, exciting gamble, he feels a surge of panic. He's afraid she'll fall. But he doesn't say anything. He doesn't stop her. The thing with kids is, if they want to grab for the gold ring, you have to let them do it, and not say anything. If they fall off, they fall off. But it's bad if you say anything to them. This is the moment Holden Caulfield grows up. He realizes that being the catcher in the rye is not only impossible, it's wrong. Protecting children doesn't mean standing on a cliff and preventing them from living. It means letting them take risks, letting them reach for things, and being there to help them if they fall. It means accepting the inevitability of the fall and trusting in their resilience. He is drenched, shivering, and on the verge of physical and mental collapse. But as he watches Phoebe on that carousel, going around and that beautiful endless circle, he tells us, "I felt so damn happy all of a sudden, the way old Phoebe kept going around and around. I was damn near bawling. I felt so damn happy." It's a happiness born of surrender. He has surrendered his war against the world. He has accepted that change is not the same as corruption, and that growing up doesn't have to mean becoming a phony. It can mean becoming someone who sits in the rain, loves his sister, and lets her reach for the gold ring. Conclusion. The boy in the wrong story. Visual cue. Slow zoom on Holden's face as he watches the carousel. The image dissolves back to the opening shot, the worn copy of the book on the desk. The lighting is now warmer, softer. So,
Why are we still talking about The Catcher in the Rye 70 years later? It's not because we have all the answers. It's because Holden Caulfield gave a voice to the question that echoes in every generation. How do you stay true to yourself in a world that feels fake? We were wrong to ever call him a rebel. A rebel has a cause. Holden had a wound. He wasn't lashing out, he was bleeding out. He was a boy who had seen the abyss, the death of his brother, the hypocrisy of his peers, the coldness of the adult world, and he was trying to build a dam against it with sarcasm and a red hunting hat. For the modern audience, Holden is more relevant than ever. We live in the age of curated identities and performative authenticity, the ultimate kingdom of phonies. His meltdown is a warning against the toxicity of perfectionism and the loneliness that comes from feeling like you're the only one who doesn't have the script. The book ends where it began, in the rest home. Holden is telling us this story from the other side of his breakdown. He is going to a new school in the fall. He misses the people he talked about, even Stradlater and Ackley. He admits, if you want to know the truth, I don't know what I think about it. He doesn't have a neat, tidy ending. He is healing, and that is Salinger's final insight. The goal is not to win the war against phoniness. The goal is to make a fragile, temporary peace with the world and to find your own carousel to watch, your own Phoebe to love. Holden Caulfield wasn't a whiny teenager. He was a ghostbuster, trying to chase away the ghost of his dead brother. He was a soldier, fighting a war he didn't understand, in a country called adulthood. He was a boy who tried to be a catcher, but found his purpose in letting go. He is all of us, standing on Thompson Hill, looking down at the big game, and wondering if we should go down and play, or just feel a goodbye. And his story remains not as a manual for rebellion, but a timeless, empathetic map of a wounded heart, reminding us that the most profound journeys are the ones that lead us back to ourselves.